Welcome to Student Success Seminar 5, Creating Great Relationships. My name is Robin Hoffman and I'll be presenting Seminar 5 to you today. There are many different types of relationships. Today we are going to focus on the 4 main types that will affect your personal and professional lives. We'll discuss romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, and work relationships. Let's begin with romantic relationships. It's extremely important to keep your romantic relationships positive, and here are just a handful of ways of making that happen. Make sure and tell your partner you love them. It sounds simple and it sounds like something you probably already know. In fact, a lot of these things will be things you already know, but it's important to go back to the basics and just make sure these things stay positive. So tell your partner you love them. You definitely want to show some affection. Affection can come in many forms. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a sexual form of affection. It could be any form of affection. It could be a hug. It could be a pat on the back, a high five, something to let your partner know that you care. You also want to show appreciation for your partner. Showing appreciation is so important. It lets your partner know that you really see and notice what they're doing for you and that you appreciate that. It goes a long way when you show appreciation for your partner. Share yourself. Now that's something that can be pretty deep and pretty intense. It's difficult to share one's true self with their partner. But if you do that, then your partner will have a better understanding of who and what you are, and you'll have a better relationship for it. You want to be there for your partner, not just physically, but you want to let them know that you're listening to them and that you hear them and that you're there for them. So be there for your partner in all different facets. Give gifts. Gifts don't have to be of monetary value. It could be a handwritten note or something left in a cabinet or a pantry or a silverware drawer, just a little note or a little heart-shaped something to let them know that you're thinking about them and that you care. Respond gracefully to your partner's demands and shortcomings. Most likely in your romantic relationships, you already know either maybe poor habits or something that your partner may do that is not something that you truly enjoy, but you already know it's there. So when they do it, you can't act surprised or act like it's this, outrageous thing because you already know. So try to accept them gracefully or try and be understanding. Make alone time with your partner a priority. It is so important to have that time just you and your partner so that you can concentrate on each other and feel connected. And try not to take anything for granted. It's so easy to go through your day-to-day life and forget the little things that go on with the person that you're with. Strive for equality. It's so important for people to feel that they have equal access and equal love for each other in a relationship. So it's really important to strive for that equality in the things that you do for each other and the amount of affection you show and the love that you have for each other. Now let's move on to friendships. Friendships are very important in everyone's lives. You'll have friendships outside of work, you'll have friendships in school, you'll have friendships within work. So it's very important to keep these relationships strong and positive as well. You want to make sure you have mutual interest. Most friendships are born from mutual interests, and those are things that you don't want to lose. You want to concentrate on those things that you share. You want to show some affection to your friends. Again, it can be in the form of a handshake or a high five or a hug, something to let your friendship know or your friend know that you care about your friendship. You want to have a reliable communication medium, meaning when's the best and what's the best time or the best way to communicate with your friend. It could be through the internet, it could be through texting, it could be through phone calls, whatever it is that you both decide is a good way to keep your communication open. Have a set of rules. It's important in a friendship to know when is a good time to call somebody, when's a good time to communicate. If you know that your friend is busy on a Sunday because they're involved in their church, it's probably not a good time to try to Skype them. So it's important to know and have a set of rules so that there's an understanding, a mutual understanding of the best way for you to maintain that relationship. It's important in a friendship to have the ability to stay quiet and listen to your friend. It's so important sometimes not to have an opinion, but to just stay quiet and listen. Sometimes your friends, all they need is to be heard. On the flip side of that, sometimes you need to have the ability to not stay quiet and to share your thoughts. If you feel that your friend is doing something that's dangerous to them or could potentially harm them in some way, emotionally or physically, then you want to be able to not stay quiet and to tell them exactly how you're feeling. It's important to keep a level head no matter what's going on. You want to keep a level head and be focused on what it is and what your intention is on what you're saying to your friend. You always have to have the willingness to sacrifice. In a friendship, sometimes you just have to make those sacrifices to do what's important for your friend and be there when they need you. And on the flip side, they should be that person for you as well. You have to have the willingness to give. Give a part of yourself. Sometimes give money. Give your time. It's all about giving and making those sacrifices. And you need to have the ability to receive. Sometimes there are friends who give a lot more than they take. And there are other friends that take a lot more than they can give. It really should be mutual, and you should try to keep some equality in that. So, if you are a giving person and you give a lot of your time and energy to your friendships, you need to be able to accept that in return. Allow them to be there for you. Allow them to give to you as you do for them. Family relationships. Family relationships can be some of the most rewarding, some of the most painful, some of the most stressful, and some of the most fun relationships you can have. Within your family relationships, here's some things that you can do to keep them positive. Be an active listener. Make sure that your family member knows that you're willing to listen and really truly hear them about how they're feeling and how they're doing. Be open and honest. The best thing that you can do for yourself, really truly in any relationship, is be open and honest. Not just with whoever you're with, but with yourself. If you're being open and honest with yourself, then you're going to be able to be more open and honest with people that you're having relationships with. Think about the person with whom you are communicating. You know their likes, you know their dislikes, you know what gets them agitated, you know what makes them happy, and try to concentrate on the things that are more positive rather than more negative. Always pay attention to nonverbal messages. When you're in front of somebody and they're showing you their body language, it's so important to recognize how they're feeling. If they look tense, or they have their arms crossed, or they look angry in some way, you probably want to try and do something to diffuse the situation. Try and keep it positive. That's the next one. Be positive. Always know your intention with your family, and if you're trying just to upset somebody, then you might want to rethink about how you're addressing them. Try and keep it positive. Try and focus on the good and not focus on the bad. Let's move on to work and school relationships. You always want to foster a willingness to listen. This has kind of come up in every relationship we've discussed. But when you're in work relationships and school relationships, if you're listening to the person, then you can know exactly how to address the situation. Promote a willingness to work collaboratively. Sometimes it's a challenge because people have very different creative thoughts and different ways of thinking. But if you create that environment where you have a willingness to listen and work together, then you're going to do much better on your project, whether it's for school or for work. Endeavor to be respectful. It's okay to disagree with people. It's not okay to be rude. So if you endeavor to be respectful, you'll most likely get to the bottom of any situation in a better manner. Always respond in a timely fashion. If somebody's waiting on you for a work project or a school project, you want to respond right away. Even if you're not done or you're not finished with your part, it's important to let them know. Just keep them posted on what you're doing, and this will prevent any type of aggravation. Try not to have any prejudgments or stereotypes. Get to know the person yourself, because I'm sure that they will surprise you. Whether it's in a work environment or a school environment, you want to try and surround yourself with supportive people. You always want people to be good and helpful toward whatever project it is you're trying to do. So if you surround yourself with supportive people, you're going to be more likely to get the positive aspect of what you're trying to do. Find a mentor, whether at school or at work. If you find somebody that has done or is doing the type of work that you would like to do, try and find somebody as a mentor so they can help you, help pave the way of what you're trying to accomplish. Try and eliminate the negativity. We discussed being positive, and it's so important because if you focus on the negative, then that's what you're going to get. But if you focus on the positive, then that negativity is just going to fade away. Collaborate and problem solve. Sometimes, especially in creative environments, people see different things, people have different ideas. But if you work together and try and problem solve rather than focusing on the negative, you'll get somewhere a lot better than if you focus on those negative things and not trying to work together. When you collaborate, you'll see that sometimes people have more to add to the story or to the project than you could ever imagine. I use the example sometimes. If you're doing a project on Italy and you've never been to Italy, then you can work on the project with ideas or things that you Google or things that you look up. But if one of your partners in your project has been to Italy, they can tell you what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it smells like, and they can add so much more to the project than you could just because they've been there. So collaborate and problem solve together. Talk about it because I'm sure, like I just said, they have ideas that may go beyond what you have. Let's talk a little bit about perspective. Perspective is so important when it comes to any type of relationship because changing your perception of something sometimes can change an entire conversation or change entirely how you look at something. These are a couple of quotes about perspective that I love. The difference between a mountain and a molehill is your perspective. Being happy doesn't mean that everything is perfect. It means that you've decided to look beyond the imperfections. It's your perception of things. Sometimes, if somebody could give us a little bit more information, we might have a better perspective on things, so it's important in every relationship to listen. Here's an example of changing your perspective. When you look at this picture, what do you see? I'll give you a few seconds to look at it. Some people, when they first look at this picture, they see a man playing the saxophone in that dark structure area. Other people, when they first look at the picture, they see a woman's face. That's more in the lighted area. Which one did you see first? Does that mean if somebody else saw something different that they were wrong? No, it's just their perspective. So if you saw the woman's face first and said this picture is of a woman's face, and I said no it's not, it's of a man playing a saxophone. Are either of us more right than the other? No, it's just our perception of what's happening here. So if I listened to you and heard your side and you told me about the man with the saxophone, I would see it from a whole different perspective. So sometimes it's just a matter of listening. Let's try another one. When you see this picture of this tiger, what do you see? I see a tiger. I see a beautiful tiger. But if I was to give you a little bit more information, you might see something different. Look at the tiger's nose. Look at the bridge of the entire nose. Do you see anything in there? It looks kind of like the back of a woman. Now I'm going to show you the next page. Look at that. It is a woman. It's actually 3 women. And a gentleman, an artist, painted this tiger on the backs of 3 women. Now that changes your whole perspective. If we were to go back and look at that original picture, then you can't help but see it. Let's go back. Now that you know, and I've changed your perspective on this picture, you can't help but see that, especially that middle woman. You can't help but see her shoulders and her back and her bottom area, knowing that that's what's there. So sometimes just listening and hearing other people's perspective on things can change your outlook completely. So you should be open to that in all relationships. Let's talk about networking. Networking is so important in the types of careers that you're all interested in being a part of. When you're networking, you want to be genuine. People will see right through it if you're not being genuine and you're just trying to blow smoke. They will know. Trust me. Establish personal goals. You can't get anywhere if you don't know where you want to get. So establish very specific personal goals and what you want to achieve out of the networking that you're doing. Visit places. You know your interest. You know what you want to do for a living. Go and visit places that do these things. Introduce yourself. Let them know your personal goals. Try and hold volunteer positions. If you're willing to do things for free, I'm not saying 40 hours a week, but even just little volunteer positions, let them know, let them gain your character, then you'll definitely want to do that and get in the door. When you're networking, you want to ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions have answers more than just yes or no. Because if you ask yes or no questions, you're only going to get yes or no answers. But if you ask open-ended questions, they're more open and free to speak as much as they want, and they'll give you more and more information. Become known as a resource. Get to know everything there is about the job that you want to do, so that when you are taking a volunteer position or even a paid position, they know that you are a good resource and they'll come to you for information, which means you are needed. Understand what you do. Don't fake it. Like we said, be genuine and have a true understanding and true knowledge of all that you want to do. Be articulate. Be able to speak clearly and be able to speak efficiently and effectively about what you are trying to accomplish. Follow through. If somebody gives you their card, their phone number, their email address, any type of contact information, you don't want to wait too long. You definitely want to address them right away so they don't forget who you are and they know that you are interested. Call those you meet. Same kind of thing. Make sure that you contact anybody that gives you their information, especially if they're trying to network. That means that they're interested in talking to you again. We couldn't possibly discuss relationships without discussing conflict. Sometimes conflict occurs. It occurs in friendships. It occurs in romantic relationships, work relationships. All relationships sometimes experience conflict. Conflict is caused because of unmet needs. Here are some ways and some reasons that conflict occurs. Identity. People's identity is very important to them, and when it gets questioned, there can be conflict. Somebody's security. Sometimes they don't feel safe. That's going to cause conflict. Control. Sometimes control is very important to people, and if they lose that control or don't feel like they have any control, it causes conflict. Recognition. Sometimes it's as simple as somebody believes that they should have been recognized for something and they didn't, and that causes the conflict. Fairness is a big one. That starts at a very young age. Kids always say, that's not fair. People gauging, and again, this goes back to perspective like we were talking about, fairness can cause major conflict. If somebody feels that they have been treated unfairly, they're going to be upset about it. When conflict arises, whether it be in the workplace or even in your education here at Full Sail, here are some ways to resolve these conflicts, especially in group situations. Clarify the goals to be accomplished. If everybody understands clearly what the goals are, then you have a better understanding of what's going on and you have a better chance of finding common ground. Separate the project into tasks. Make sure everybody has a job and make sure those jobs are important. If everybody has a hand in the project, then they're going to feel more into what is expected of them and they're going to put more of themselves into the project. Make sure you keep in touch with the members and make sure you keep updated with their progress. If they have a specific task that they're supposed to do, then you want to make sure they're staying on board and responsible with that task. So keep in close contact, because if anybody runs into any type of problem, you want to be able to help right away and get that resolved rather than it becoming a bigger issue toward when the project is due. Try to give each person a task that they're interested in. When you're separating the project into tasks, find somebody's interest. If somebody happens to be really good at music and really interested in that, then that's the task you want to give them. If somebody happens to be an excellent writer, then you want to make sure they're given the writing portion of the project. If someone has a problem completing their task, support them in finding out the cause to the problem. Don't do their work for them. You're not doing them any good to just do the work for them. Help them problem solve. Work on it together. Be hard on the problem and soft on the person. You want to resolve the issue. You don't want to just offend the person, but this project is important to you, whether it be for work or for school. So you definitely want to be hard on the problem. You want to attack that problem, not the person. Here are some ways to collaborate and do some problem solving. First, you need to define the problem. Find out exactly what the conflict is, what's the issue, what is the underlying problem, what's the real problem. Find out exactly what it is. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to resolve anything. You have to find out exactly what's going on, the true thing that's going on. Generate how-to statements. How to do this, how to do that, how to effectively define this problem and come up with a solution. Brainstorm possible solutions together as a group. Everybody has something different to contribute. Somebody might give you an idea about something that you may not have thought of before. So brainstorming together possible solutions to the problem will lend you to come up with something that can actually be accomplished. Choose an alternative. Don't just find one solution to the problem. Have a backup. If your solution that you've come up with doesn't work, then you have this backup plan. Develop a follow-up plan. A follow-up plan is different than a backup plan. A follow-up plan means, okay, we've found this solution, we've implemented this solution, now we're going to go back and we're going to make sure that this solution worked and it stays steady. Necessary conditions. That's just making sure that everybody is in the right condition, making sure everybody has what they need to complete their task and to make sure that every problem that you've addressed has been solved. Okay, let's do a quick overview of what we learned. What did all of these steps toward positive relationships have in common? Be genuine. You won't get anywhere in any relationship of any sort if you're not genuine to yourself and to your partner or to whoever you're involved in the relationship with. Be open to different perspectives, ideas, and collaboration. If you open your mind to other people's perspectives, you're not only going to have healthier relationships, but you're going to enjoy life more and you're going to learn more about the people around you and the environment you're in. Be consistent, follow through, and follow up. And more than anything else, enjoy yourself. I guarantee if you are enjoying yourself, then the people around you will be enjoying themselves and every relationship you have will be more positive. Thank you so much for your time. Please make sure that you complete your summary and email it to success@fullsail.com. If you have any questions or would like to chat, please call me at 407-551-2024, extension 2467, or email me at the email address listed. Take care and have positive relationships.